Welcome back to the More Gems Show. I'm Steve Moriarty, your host, and with me tonight are my son Michael, who's in charge of this production.
Hey, everybody.
And also with us is Carrie Obranovich, who is Michael's fiancée. Welcome, Carrie.
Thank you. It's good to be back. Thanks for having me.
So we've got a good show tonight, some interesting stones. I've done a lot of cutting since we were last together. It has been a while. We're going to try and get back on a more regular schedule, probably just once a month, just because we've been so incredibly busy. COVID has been good to us. You know, it's a strange thing to say. It's such a bad thing, but for business, it's been amazing. So we'll be coming back to you once a month, and I'll try and get some good cutting done between shows. So I've got some good variety to show you like we have tonight.
Carrie, you want to tell them how they can purchase tonight?
Yes. So everything that we're going to be showing tonight, you will be able to find on MoreGems.com. You can click the green banner at the top. And once you click that, you'll be able to go through everything that Steve will be showcasing tonight. And then if you see something you like, you can use the coupon code New Year, which will take 15% off, right? Yep, 15% off.
Okay, and on the site you can pay with credit card. We do have financing available. I'm not exactly sure. I think it varies a little. Well, I'm not sure what the financing is. We've changed it recently, and Jeff, who's supposed to be here, is going skiing, so he'd have that information for you. But you'll find financing available, and we also do PayPal. Anything else, Mike?
No, I think that's pretty good.
Okay, well, let's get started. And starting tonight is our most popular gem is Tanzanite. This is a smaller stone, but incredible color. This is a stone that is mostly blue. It's a blue, a violet blue exceptional, but it's a high percentage blue color. This particular stone weighs 2.08 carats. The appraised price, which let me tell you a little bit about the appraised price. This is the Gem Guide, which is a market-driven independent pricing guide. They go to the shows, primarily Tucson, which Tucson didn't happen this year because of COVID, which we're really depressed about because it's the highlight of our year as far as buying and just having a great fun in Tucson. So the three of us go, and Jeff comes out, and sometimes my daughter comes, and it's just so much fun, and we really, really, really miss it. The weather, of course, here the weather's horrible, and out there it's probably pretty nice. But anyway, this is a gem guide, and they go to Tucson and the big shows and actually go around and price gems, what their asking price is, and they create this guide based on that. So it gives us a wholesale price that we use for our retail and appraised prices, and the appraised price is based on the prices in this guide. So this stone appraises at $2,180. Our price online is $1,290, and with 15% off tonight, it's $1,096, which is $527 a carat. So really a beautiful stone. And for its size, it's very difficult. The hardest thing to get in Tanzanite is a small stone with deep color. And this has the color of a 20 carat stone, as good as it gets. So this camera setting makes this look violet, but there's very little violet in the stone. It's just a sapphire blue stone.
This video depicts the color a little bit better.
Yeah. What's on the screen is pretty much what you're going to see in this stone. Just really clean stone, high rated stone. I'm not sure what the rating on this was, but very high rated. And this is, here's a Tanzanite crystal. This actually is a blue crystal too.
Show it in the,
And this one comes from Michael's website.
it's on, it'll be on Tanzanite.
Oh, it's on Tanzanite website. Yeah, all his Tanzanite crystals are on the Tanzanite website, tanzanitejewelrydesigns.com. But his website is mineralmike.com and has a wide variety of crystals on there, which will be a little shorter this year because we have no Tucson. And Tucson, I mean, people come from around the world and a lot of Chinese dealers, and so we all miss it greatly. But for Tanzanite, Tanzanite's been the best quality I've ever purchased. You know, these Tanzanites that are available now are better color, better priced, just extremely high quality stones that I'm buying all I can. All my money is right now being invested in Tanzanite.
Depends on
What's that?
oh, somebody asked about sales tax
Oh,
on our
oh,
website.
only sales tax is only for people in the state of Indiana. All other states currently are free. You know, it's once we get over a certain dollar amount, we do have to charge sales tax, but we haven't reached that except in Illinois occasionally, but not currently. This year, there's no tax anywhere but Indiana. So next stone is a Savorite garnet, and I recently purchased the Savorites you're going to see tonight. The quality of these Savorites, again, is better than I've had in many, many years. And what you're going to find out about the color of these Savorites, I cannot photograph these colors as good as they are, and they're not going to show up in this. This camera is not going to show them as good as the colors are, but they're just extremely fine stones, very clean, nicely cut. This particular Savorite weighs 1.86 in a trillion. The appraised price is $46.50. Our price online is $24.50, and with 15 off, it's $2,074. So a really nice trillion, just extremely good brilliance, and top color for this garnet. This is a big Savorite crystal. Doesn't quite have the color of the trillion, but it's a big crystal. Oop, get it in front of the camera there. I get it on.
See what?
So this one will be on Mineral Mike.
Not quite the same price tag either. That one's it's a little more than what it says on there, but
Yeah, okay. So these crystallize in a cubic system. Whoop. This trillion Savorite, really, really a great stone.
so those are now coming out of Tanzania as well.
Yeah, these are from Tanzania. This is the source of these. The Savorite comes both from Tanzania and Kenya. Originally discovered in Tanzania by Campbell Bridges. The country kicked him out, and he followed the geology into Kenya and discovered it there also, and his family still mines there at this time. And our next stones are Imperial zircons. We've shown these many times, but this is interesting because it's a match pair. and kind of a unique shape. I don't get squares like this very often, and definitely not match pairs. These are Asher cut or step square cuts. So these weigh 5.84 carats. Appraised price of $1,750. $11.45 is our online price, and with 15 off, it's $973. So about $166 a carat. You know, this is a unique color that comes in a variety of stones. Garnets come this way, which would be Malaya garnet. These are similar to Podparasha sapphire, a slight difference in the color, but kind of peachy, pinkish orange color. And of course, Podparasha is much more expensive. Malaya garnet's much more expensive. You know, Malayas are more in the $400 or $500 a carat. Podparashas in the $10,000 a carat. So Imperial zircon is probably one of the best choices price-wise for this color range. And this happens to be, has always been my favorite color. Malaya garnet has always been my favorite stone, and just something about peach colors that does it for me. So these are nice clean stones, and you know, not very expensive for what they are.
So would you do those in earrings or?
Earrings, matched ring and pendant, of course, but good earring stones for sure. Yeah. And our next stone.
Carrie's got a question.
Oh, Carrie.
So we have a fan of yours, Dakota. He actually is cutting, and he's been watching a lot of your videos. So I just wanted to give him a shout out. So he's very
Hi,
thankful
Dakota.
for your videos.
Oh, thanks.
But he was asking, what do you think about the Mahenge garnets?
Well, I wish they were still available because there's so little Mahenge anymore. Mahenge came out maybe 7-8 years ago. And as of the last couple of years, very limited production. We see almost no Mahenge garnets available in the market today. I get them occasionally, but not much of the peach, you know, because the Mahenges came out as Malayas, the peach color. And I bought as much as I could while it was available, but you're just not seeing much these days. But Mahenge changed the whole garnet market. It forced the prices up significantly, probably forced prices up 50%, because both Mahenge and Mozambique, which Mahenge is in Tanzania, Mozambique and Kenya, they all started producing some really unusual colors in garnets and just created a huge interest in the garnets and forced the price up significantly on garnet. You know, which they deserve to be more expensive because they can have the look of a diamond and a variety of colors like few gems have, and they deserve to be in the price range they are. They've always been underpriced, and, you know, they're quite rare in bigger stones, so getting stones over 2 carat in most garnets is difficult. So they deserve the prices they are. You know, Savorite's been up there in the 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a carat for quite some time, and the other garnets have been well behind. But it's getting closer these days, and the price probably will continue to go up, particularly now that the availability is very, very limited in the garnets we've had in the last 6-7 years. So hopefully Mahenge will start producing again. Time will tell. You know, or we get some new sources of garnets.
Weren't they mining spinel? That's what halted some of that production?
Well, that was one of the stories, that the spinel mines in Mahenge were controlled mines, and the garnets were close by, and the people flooded into Mahenge and started mining the garnets. And the people that were controlling the spinel mines forced them out because they were encroaching on the spinel mines, and spinel was much more valuable than the garnets. So it was the more important part of the mine. So that's one story I've gotten, so whether it's run out or the miners were run out, time will tell, because with the price of garnets going up, there'll be more interest in mining the garnets, and we'll find out what happens in Mahenge. So our next stone is a stone I've dealt with for the last
Couple weeks.
2 weeks.
Well, we've had it for 3 years.
Yeah, we've had this stone for 3 years, the piece of rough that this came from. We bought it from a Brazilian dealer in Tucson. Has it been 3 years?
I think 2018.
Yeah, could be. They hit a pocket of this material in Brazil. We bought it as a really nice crystal, as you can see here. The gentleman I bought it from is somebody I've dealt with for probably 35 years. He comes to Tucson once a year, and he's become a good friend and a good supplier. And he sold me this stone, and knowing I was a cutter, he says, "You're not going to cut this stone, are you?" And of course, as a cutter, of course I'm going to cut it, because it has pretty good crystal shape, and to some it's a sin to take a fine crystal and cut it up, but the value of this stone cut, it was much more than the value of what I thought we could get for the crystal. So this is the piece. Took many hours to cut. The crystal inclusions that you see in this video, because it's so close up and so brightly lit, in the cut stone, it's difficult to see those inclusions. But it came out really nice. The piece of rough weighed almost 1,000 carats. And we sawed it up, and one half was 750 carats. And we cut this stone out of it, which was 194.57 carats. Now, blue topaz, we know, is a fairly common stone. But what makes it common is you take a colorless piece of topaz, you irradiate it, and then you heat it, and you get a blue stone, which usually they're much bluer than this. But they started out completely colorless. So almost everything you see on the market, probably everything you've ever seen on the market, has been irradiated to color. This stone is natural, came out of the ground natural. This is its natural color. So it is a rare stone. It's the biggest and finest piece I've ever owned. I can't remember the last natural blue topaz I had. I know I've had one back in the 90s probably, but you just don't see naturals. And this material came out of Brazil. The year we bought it, we saw several crystals in Tucson.
Yeah, I got one, but I sold it. It was, I think that same year.
Yeah,
That was
and
a specimen.
Michael had another specimen. I think mine was better, but
Yeah.
but it was around that year, and we haven't seen it since. The only thing we've seen, maybe a couple of crystals that were bought that year, and they're reselling them for thousands. So this was a rare find, and currently not available to my knowledge. So that's what makes this stone valuable. It's natural color. GIA won't be able to tell you it's natural color because they're not able to separate stones that this may have been irradiated in the ground, or what caused the color. They can't really tell you. But, knowing the supplier as I do, and the situation of that find, this is a natural color and just a rare stone. So it's 194 carats. I don't have an appraised price because I have nothing to compare it to. You won't find prices for natural blue topaz in any guide or anywhere, just because it is a rare stone. Blue topaz naturals are also found in Texas, but very, very light. You know, most of this material is just almost colorless, just a tint of blue. So this has a really nice color, and I like how the cut came out. I cut it as a step cut. So it's a really pretty stone. So our list price is $78.40. 15 off is $66.64, which is $34 a carat. So really pretty stone for.
Show it.
Oh, sure.
Show the size of it. How about in the camera?
In the camera. So it's big stone. I get it in here too. Oop. This camera is going to show the color a little better than actual. The picture that we showed originally is an accurate portrayal of the color. So kind of a cool stone. You know, excited to have it.
You want to tell them about the cutting videos as well?
Sure. So we did a cutting video on it to teach cutting. Primarily, it's a 7-part video. How long?
Oh, there's probably over 5 hours.
About 5 hours of me cutting this stone. So if you can stomach 5 hours of me, we welcome you to take a look at it. It's a good education on how to cut stones and some of the problems and that you run into in faceting a stone this big. You know, blue topaz is very hard, so it's a difficult stone to facet. You know, it takes a lot of time to polish, a little more difficult to cut, and you have to deal with some cleavage planes and things. So it's an exciting video if you if you want to spend the next 5 hours looking at it. So cool stone, yeah, it's something for the collector for sure. And up next is a peridot. This is a Portuguese round Pakistani peridot. You know, this is probably one of the best-selling cuts that we have. It's absolutely the best-selling cut we have. Sorry for all the dust on this one. Missed wiping this one off well, but those are not inclusions, just dust on the surface. You photographers out there probably give me a hard time. It's a little dusty, yes. Usually I'm a little better at getting these cleaned off than that. But anyway, it's really a beautiful stone. You know, this Portuguese style cut just produces a really nice brilliance that people like, because Portuguese never lasts for us very long. You know, so this is a nice big stone. It's a 5 carat 18. And this comes from Pakistan, comes from 11,000 feet up in the Himalayas. So very limited production because it's snowed in most of the time. And production on Pakistan peridot, as we've discussed many times, has dropped off so significantly. You know, I bought a nice parcel, and you'll see a couple of stones tonight, and there's a couple more I've cut recently on the website. You know, this has a nice spiraling brilliance. Just makes a nice ring stone or pendant. It has a secondary blue color to it. You know, this video here is showing it as more yellow than it is. Because this is primarily a bluish green. And that's 5 carat 18. Appraised value is $2,950. Our online price is $1,470. 15% off gives it to you at $1,250. Not my favorite cut to do. Kind of few too many facets. There's a lot of busy work involved and takes extra time to do. I think this one may only have 145 facets in it, but it's pretty involved in dealing with this cut, but well worth doing because it's so saleable and people appreciate the cut. I've got a couple of pieces of peridot rough here. I won't say it's rough, they're crystals. Whoop.
Camera's up there.
Ah, I have difficulty with these cameras. You get that on, maybe it's better here. There you go. Whoop. So these are also Pakistani peridot crystals. Came from the same supplier I got the rough from. These are Mike's, and they're on mineralmike.com. And it's pretty rare to see such nice peridot crystals. Usually it's broken up pieces of rough. Just really nice shape. They're naturally etched. But really cool. I wish they were clean, but yeah, they're clean. I mean, for a crystal, they're very clean, but for cutting rough, they're just not clean enough. But they're remarkable crystals. They're some of the best I've ever seen. And our next piece is Aquamarine ring. This is a style we did really well at Christmas time, and I made up a few more after Christmas. Just has just a nice look to the piece. Bigger diamonds on the side. I think those are like 15 pointers on the side. So it's set in 14 karat gold. This aquamarine comes from Madagascar. Madagascar is a place I traveled for about 10 years, from 2001 to, I think last trip there could have been 2008. But they always produced great aquas. Their aquas were just a nice, pure blue color, very little secondary colors. Many aquas have kind of a grayish tone to them. These are just a nice, pure blue. Comes from Madagascar. The stone weighs 2.98 carats. There's 51 points of diamonds that are GVS quality with it. The appraised price is $34.50. $25.90 is our price online. So with 15 off, it's $2,200 for this piece.
Show it on your hand, or just in the camera up here, just to show the size. There you go.
Yeah. So a nice size ring. Not too big, not too small, just right.
Sparkles from all the way over here.
What's that?
Sparkles from all the way
Oh,
over
okay.
here. I could see it.
Whoop. So. And up next is another Tanzanite. I've looked at so much Tanzanite over the last couple of months, just because it's selling for us. It's probably half our entire business, and the quality that's come out recently is just pretty amazing. Getting the colors that I've been getting, I've just been putting all my money that I can into Tanzanite. Sorry, Nancy, but every time she sees me looking at Tanzanite, she gets nervous. So I looked at a parcel today of trillions and bought trillion cuts, and she thought I was done, but I'm not done. I'm going to keep buying because I think it's the right stone to buy now. The quality that's available is better than ever. The prices are as good as they've ever been. And, with what's been going on in Tanzania just before COVID hit, They built the wall around the mines. They set up government buying centers that if you're caught buying outside those centers, they'll throw you in jail. And I know of 3 people that have been thrown in jail back when this just started. So they're pretty serious about getting control of the mining and control of the illegal exports, which have generally gone through Kenya. Probably more material has been sold through Kenya or exported through Kenya than has through Tanzania, because the border's so close, and they just walk it across into Kenya and export it out of Kenya, and they don't have a tax involved. So the government's trying to get control of it, and rightfully so. So sometime late this year, Michael and my son Jeff and I will go to Tanzania and just see how this new system's working. I used to go to the mines and buy, and go to the Marilani, which is the town where the miners live, and buy there. But now that's illegal. And one benefit will be all the sellers are in one place, so people I didn't know before, I'll get to know now, because it'll be much easier to find those who are selling Tanzanite. So you'll have to pay a tax, which was going to force the price up a little bit. But they deserve the tax, and it'll help out the country, and hopefully I'll continue to be able to get the goods I want. But right now, while goods are available in quantity, I'm buying all I can. So, you have a question?
Yeah, I guess you kind of answered it. Somebody was asking about the pricing and then the availability of Tanzanite. So
Yeah.
I guess you kind of went over that a little
Well,
bit.
the availability is better. I had somebody call yesterday, and he'd been researching online, and he said the average price out there online was $800 a carat, and he wanted to know why I was often down close to $500 a carat. And my biggest advantage is I have good friends, one in Tanzania and one right now he's parked in Thailand. 2 places where you can buy lots of Tanzanite. And so I've been getting a large quantity of goods while nobody's traveling. I mean, very few people have been traveling to Tanzania. And so this is part of the reason why there's so much goods available, and my connections have just been supplying me just remarkable stones, and this is one of them. I just bought this stone last week. It's a 14.80 carat stone, and just a flawless stone, just beautiful color. This stone, again, primarily blue, high percentage of blue in this stone. And that's a question I had for the friend in Tanzania. What's up with so much blue material being available? And my question was, is there one mine that's producing all these goods? And his research on that question, he came back and says, yes, one mine is producing a large quantity, and they have a high percentage of blue stones. I typically have been more into the violet blue. Many people wanted to say that the blue stones were the most valued, but they were so rare that my point was, how could they be the most valued when most of the material is blue-purple? And the blues are so rare. What created the market for Tanzanite? It's the blue and the purple. But now, I'm seeing all this blue, so I'm going to promote the blue while it's available, assuming that it is one production, and many times these productions end as quick as they started. So I'll buy the blues and sell the blues, because the blues in daylight, they're remarkably blue. I mean, they look like a sapphire. They have the look of sapphire, and a sapphire of this size would be I don't know, what would it be? It'd be $70, $80, $100,000, maybe more. Could be $200,000. So here's a stone that's Tanzanite 14.8 carat, appraised value of $17,760. Our price of $8,880. With the 15% off, it's $75.48, which comes out to $510 a carat, and that is probably the least expensive for a top quality gem. And I mean, this is as good as it gets. Just a really remarkable color, remarkable clarity, beautiful cutting. So for $510 a carat, it's a thing to own right now. It's not going to last. It's the price will go up once people start traveling again and find out that the whole marketing of Tanzanite has changed. The whole world for Tanzanite is different these days, and the government is going to force the price up some. Which is fine. Prices going up generally don't affect the market, and long as I can still get goods, I'll be a happy person. But I'm going to invest as much as I can, and hopefully realize some investment value from all the material I've been buying. Question?
Yes. So somebody wants to know or have you describe the difference between blue violet and violet blue Tanzanite.
Okay. So blue violet means that the blue's the modifier. The violet is the primary color. After that, I've been breaking down the color by percentage. If I say it's a blue-violet exceptional color, I'll put maybe 30%, 70%. So the 30% goes with the blue, the first one, or the 30% goes with the blue, and the 70% goes with the violet. So a blue-violet 30-70 is a primarily violet stone that's 70% violet and 30% blue. Hopefully that makes sense, but I'm trying to help you out and describe the colors better. So the first term is the modifier, and the second term is the primary color for the stone.
And then kind of another question about the red and blue Tanzanite. Do you often get those? Somebody was asking if we had any. I kind of was browsing on the site real quick. I saw like a pinky blue one, but nothing more red.
Yeah, there's no red. Red doesn't exist. There's a natural one on our site that's as red as they get. It's a natural color, 15 karat antique cushion. But they don't really exist red. Sometimes the crystals, when you look down the C-axis, it looks red. I've seen some stones that were really, really red down the C-axis. You can get red flash out of a Tanzanite, which this one we're dealing with here may exhibit some red flash, but that's also rare to see that. But no reds. You'll see pinks and greens and yellows. We've got some peach and a Yellowstone in the show tonight. Again, this picture shown here, it's not as violet as it is. This camera setting just shows off more violet. This is primarily a blue stone. But nice big stone, really well cut. And $5.10 a carat is as cheap as I've had, and is likely as cheap as it's going to get. All right, so that's my Tanzanite story, which you've heard over and over again because we've been into Tanzanite so much, and it's 50% of the business, so We do make some investment in Tanzanite, and I recommend that you do too. And it's the only stone I push people as an investment if they ask me what I would invest in, and it's Tanzanite all the way. You know, it's just such a beautiful stone and relatively inexpensive compared to anything else of a similar color. And what's next there, Mike? Okay, this is kind of a unique tourmaline. I don't see this color often in tourmaline. I used to get it out of Madagascar. Friend of mine, Tom Krishman, I used to get some stones from him when he was traveling to Madagascar, and then he finally talked me into coming to Madagascar. And I spent at least 8 years going there, and it's a place I'd love to get back to. I'm tempted to go there. I would like to go there now, but I more need to go to Tanzania for Tanzanite. But Madagascar is just an amazing place to travel to. So this is a tourmaline. It's kind of that peach color again, a little more pink than what you saw in the zircons. But really just a beautiful stone. This I cut in a step cut, which I do a lot of step cuts. So it weighs 4 carat, I believe. This tourmaline appraised at $1,800. $950 is our online price, so with 15 off, it's $807. Right about $200 a carat. It's clean. And just the color that it's been quite some time since I've had this color.
Just make sure you're speaking close enough to the mic.
Oh, okay.
Just so I can hear you.
Yeah, if anybody out there has a problem with the audio or anything, let us know. I'm a little hoarse tonight, but hopefully you can hear me okay. That tourmaline comes from Mozambique. Mozambique's produced some remarkable tourmalines, including the Paraibas. Not actual Paraibas, but copper-bearing tourmalines have come from Mozambique. And our next piece is a Savorite garnet ring. This is set in platinum. Weighs 2.14 carats. And again, these videos do not do the Savorites justice. Just a much richer green than these cameras will show. But beautiful stone, accented by really nice baguettes. I think it's just a very attractive, real classic ring set in platinum. Savorite ring praised at $9,630. Our price was $63.25. $53.76 is the price with 15% off. Savorites, as they get over 2 carat, the price jumps pretty significantly. Next jump is over 3 carats. They just don't come very large. 2 carats a pretty good sized stone for Savorites. And our next stone is another pretty unusual stone. This is Aquamarine, but Aquamarine in a color that rarely exists. This is a small stone, carat 66, but the color is quite unusual. This comes from Mozambique. Trying to think what the color name is, Michael.
Santa Maria.
Ah, yes. This is Santa Maria color. Santa Maria was some of the material that was mined in Brazil. The Santa Maria mine produced this kind of color. And it's just rare from any source to get this depth of color in an aquamarine. This stone has a few inclusions, but not easily seen with the naked eye. I don't even think you can see them naked eye. But the color is just amazing. If this was totally clean, this color is 600-700 a carat type of color. I don't recall the last time I saw stones this color. Occasionally from Madagascar, in my early trips to Madagascar, I'd catch a few with this kind of color. But generally they had some secondary colors in them, not quite as pure as what this color is. So again, this is a step cut, kind of a hexagonal step.
You just finished this one this week, right?
Yeah, this is a stone I just finished. This and the peach color tourmaline are stones from this week.
What'd you say, Carrie?
I said, can I put this stone on layaway if someone doesn't buy it?
Yes, Carrie
tonight?
likes her aquamarines.
She's wearing one tonight.
Yeah,
am.
she's got an
Anybody can
aquamarine
see it.
pendant on.
I got a crystal, aquamarine crystal.
Yeah, I like aquamarines a lot. It's just a beautiful stone, sells well, and if you can get something with a reasonably deep color, it's one of the prettiest of stones. And this is well beyond deep color. This is extraordinary color.
Steve, can you show it on your hand?
I could do that. My lovely fingers. There you go. Again, that's not far off from color, but it's a little deeper than what it is. The picture on the screen is more accurate.
Oh, it's so pretty.
But really a remarkable stone. This stone appraises at $990. Our online price is $498. So $423 is the price of this stone with 15% off. With the coupon code New Year. So just go to the banner at the top of MoreGems.com, click on it, and you'll find all the stones in the show on there. And up next is another of the Savorites I just bought. This one just under 2 carat. So the benefit there is it was priced to me cheaper as not being a 2 carat. 2 carat is a bit of a magic number, but it would have bumped the price up about 30% on this particular stone. And again, the color is just a really beautiful color. This one has very high clarity for Savorite. Getting into a VS clarity in Savorite garnets is a rare thing. They're usually filled with veils, small crystals, are typical in Savorites. This is well-cut stone, and like I said, very, very clean. It's a fine green with secondary blue, which is what's most desirable in Savorite. Nice antique cushion cut. So this carat 99, appraised value of $5,600. Our online price $29.90. 15 off is $25.42. This comes from Tanzania, and just really well cut stone. Again, the color that you're seeing is not accurate. And even, this is a color that I have a hard time photographing. Even the photograph on screen is not as good as what this stone is. You see this in hand. It's just a beautiful, beautiful green color. And our next stone is pretty unusual. This is a yellow Tanzanite, or fancy zoisite, or whatever you want to call it. Appropriate term is yellow zoisite. Common term is yellow Tanzanite. It's a fancy Tanzanite, but kind of a unique color. It's a yellow with just a slight bit of green to it. And this is a big stone for fancy color Tanzanites, almost 4 carat, and fancy Tanzanites are exceedingly rare. Many times in my time in business, there has been nothing available. First time I saw a quantity of material available was in 2014, my last trip there. And there was a good variety available then, which has kind of dropped off now. We still see a few stones coming out, and I've generally had 8 or 10 stones a year. But that's about it. It's just still a tough stone to get. They're just a rare form of Tanzanite. So pretty stone, weighs 3 carat 95. Praise value of $3,600. Online price $2,270. $1,929 is the price with the coupon code New Year. This stone comes out to about $488 a carat. I'll give you an idea of the size. Oh. So again, very well cut stone. This cutter really does remarkable cutting.
Steve, we have a question.
All right, what's the question there, Carrie?
When referring to the term fancy, what do you mean exactly? Or what does that mean?
Anything that isn't blue-purple. Fancy Tanzanite, it's just try and legitimize the use of Tanzanite with it. There are people that think if it's Tanzanite is supposed to be blue to violet, and anything else should be called zoisite instead of Tanzanite. So we use fancy Tanzanite just so people don't object, I guess. Calling it yellow Tanzanite, some people object to that term. So, but you can object if you want. It's a yellow zoisite. It's a yellow Tanzanite in my book. So.
We show them the yellow crystal.
Oh yeah, and we have a yellow crystal here. That's it.
I don't know if you got white.
Yeah, it kind of shows. See it against white better. Not much better. So that's how this would have started out. Most of the fancies are natural color, not heat treated. Usually heat treatment does some bad things to it. And most things that are yellow, it'll take the yellow away, so you'd have colorless, would be my guess what you would get. I had a pink that had a little brown in it, and I thought I could cook the brown off. But once I cooked it, it turned purple. and pink is actually the most valued of the fancy tanzanites. Easily getting into 1,000, 2,000 a carat for some of the pinks. So we generally don't heat the fancies. The next stone is the second largest stone I've ever cut. This is an Ametrine, weighs 322 carats. I cut a quartz that was bigger, that you'll see its little brother later in the show. I cut a 577 carat, 570 something, a quarter pounder quartz once that we've done a video on. That's on YouTube. But this is the next biggest. This is Ametrine. Kind of cut to mix the colors. Ametrine we cut and generally we'll cut them so the colors separate in the stone and you get a bicolor stone that's yellow and purple. This one was cut to mix the two colors, just because, some of these crystals you can't cut that bicolor. They're just, the zoning is such a way that to cut a bicolor, you get a 50 carat stone instead of a 322 carat stone. So this is a big stone, a unique cut. This I cut, I'm trying to think what the name of this cut is.
You cut this a while back.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
How many years ago? I mean, I don't even know. I don't think I was working here yet. So it had to be over 13 years ago.
Yes. Yeah. So I cut the stone and I sold it and I ended up buying it back. The person that owned it died and the family sold it back to me. And so thrilled to get it back. The cut is a tripolar is what the name of this cut was. Friend of mine cut me a kunzite in this cut and I loved it so much I reproduced it in this. So it weighs 322 carats. It's a lot of weight. So it price adds up $96.60. So appraised price of $16,100. $96.60 is our online price. So it comes out to $8,211, which is $26 a carat for this Ametrine.
Can you show us in the camera so you give an idea of the size of that big boy? How about in this one?
Oh, and this one.
Bigger than a golf ball, huh?
Yeah, it's a pretty good size stone. Might be a little big for a ring. Pendant. Great collector stone.
Depth.
So it's pretty deep, but it just came out really nice. Yeah, really proud of this stone. And it takes, a stone like this, I don't know how many hours it took me, but it's well into the 40, 50 hours. So I spent 2 weeks cutting this stone. As they get bigger, the time just increases so fast, how long it takes to polish those big facets, and particularly in quartz. Quartz is the worst to polish. It's the hardest stone that cutters have to deal with. You think such a relatively common stone, it should be easy to cut and polish, but it's by far it gives cutters the most difficult time of most any gem. There's apatite, which is a little more difficult, but quartz is a really, really tough one to polish.
You like cutting kunzite too, don't you?
Yeah, I don't cut kunzite. The friend that cut a tripolar, it was a 150 carat stone, and he's amazing. John Lennart. I haven't talked to John for a long time. I don't know what John's up to, but he cut that stone for me, and it was just remarkable in a kunzite, because kunzite's extremely difficult to cut. It you're cutting on it and you're polishing one side and the other half falls off. There's just all sorts of nightmares with kunzite, but John Lennard was an amazing cutter that could cut probably any gem. He's somebody I will say is far exceeds my abilities. So John, if you're out there, give me a call. All right, and up next, it's another Tanzanite, but this one's really cool stone. I mean, it's blue, and just a big round brilliant like this. The round brilliants are some of the most beautiful stones. They just produce excellent life, and it used to be in Tanzanite that you could never find round brilliants. Getting a 4.5 carat round brilliant like this was a rare thing to get. These days, people are pushing that cut more often. Whoop! We got a sale. All right.
So someone just bought this round Tanzanite that you're showing.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
So thank
well,
you.
I may as well not show it now.
It's sold. Sorry, guys.
Well, but it's a great stone. I mean, it's you're going to be thrilled. I kind of lost my.
He lost his train of thought.
I lost my train of thought there. But congratulations, exciting stone, just really a beautiful stone. You're going to love it. So not much more to be said about that stone. Yeah.
Well,
Hopefully there'll be more, and thank you. Yes. Yeah.
I have a question for you since you kind of lost your train of
Yeah.
So somebody is asking what your opinion is on cutting sphalerite.
Well, I just bought some, so it's not easy. It's hard to polish. You polish with diamond on a bat lap is how I polish it. We had one in a show maybe 3 or 4 shows ago that I cut. So it is just, when you get done, it's the most amazing looking stone on the planet because dispersion is extreme. You cut a round brilliant like this in it, and it'll just blow you away. If you can find clean rough and cut a stone that looks like this, it's almost second to none in its beauty. I love sphalerite, and but it's not a pleasure to cut. The rough is really difficult to deal with, hard to see into and figure out what to cut out of it. It's well worth the effort if you can find some rough. I bought some rough and I bought maybe 7 or 8 pieces. Only one of them's worth cutting. But if I get a stone out of it, I'll make good money on it. Because it's a 66 carat piece of rough. Hopefully it's clean, and hopefully I can cut a round brilliant, a 20 carat round brilliant, and a sphalerite. It'll be on a show if we get it done, and you'll be amazed at the looks of it. So, what was the question?
Your opinion.
Yeah. It's a super stone, and it's not for jewelry. It's just for looking at, because it's soft, has 6-way perfect cleavage, so it has no chance in a piece of jewelry. Try and set it independent. I think we have set it, but your odds of setting it are maybe 50% without damaging it. So better just to look at them. So. Okay. And our next stone is a pink tourmaline. I've had this one for a long time, but it was damaged, and I just finally sat down and repaired it. It had a chip on the girdle and a bad facet on the pavilion, and just a really pretty pink. And in a round brilliant, it's just a very attractive stone. It comes from Mozambique, as the earlier tourmaline did. It's a very pastel pink, but just a lovely color and a lovely cut. Marcia Tokarski cut it originally, who used to cut for me, and she did a great job. But over the years it got damaged, and I'd put it away, and finally pulled it back out and recut the stone.
Perfect for Valentine's Day.
Why?
It's pink.
Oh,
What'd
I
you say
thought
there?
I thought
I
red
like
was
this one.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Oh, Valentine's.
What's my Valentine's Day gift, Mike?
Somebody better hurry, or
little
Carrie's
too
gonna
pricey.
grab it.
No, I might get on my phone and order this.
Yeah.
New year.
I like the aqua.
You like
Was it the
that?
aqua? Yeah, the aqua.
Okay, get back in the game here. I'm trying to show this stone on my hand.
Oh, okay.
Can you do better than that? Okay, thanks. There you
Sorry, I'm thinking Valentine's Day.
go. We should all be thinking Valentine's Day. Doesn't go too good against my pink hand, but it's just a really pretty color. Like I say, it's light pink, but just very, very brilliant. Nice big round. Just going to make a beautiful ring. And tourmaline's plenty hard for a ring, and it's a nice clean stone, not flawless, but it's eye clean and just a really nice cut. So what's the specs on this stone? This one weighs 462. Praise price of $2,760. Our online price was $1,380, and with 15 off, it's $1,173 for this tourmaline. And tourmaline's unusual to get them clean at all. I mean, tourmaline's classed by GIA as a class 3 stone, meaning rarely clean. So this is, for a tourmaline, a very clean stone, being eye clean, and just excellent brilliance.
Oh, I got a big Tourmaline crystal over there.
Oh, yeah, you got to remind me.
That sounds nice.
Oh,
I'm thinking about the stone.
okay.
I saw it earlier too. I haven't seen that one.
So here's a pink tourmaline crystal, typical hexagonal shape. This, you can see the color zoning. And this camera's making it look orange, but it's pink. And again, this is available on mineralmike.com. So these stones the color difference is significant down the C-axis, which is this axis, and the AB axis. Sometimes they cut better color down this axis, although it's going to be hard to cut this stone down that axis, seeing as the yield is this direction. And this is the reason you see many, many tourmalines in long emerald cuts, because of the shape of this crystal. And this stone is probably facet grade, so you may see it in the next show. What's the price on this stone, Mike? $399.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So it's $399, weighs 2 grams, so it's a 10 carat. So.
I don't know if it's got some feathers or something.
Yeah, there are a few feathers in it. You can still cut a stone out of it, but you got to cut it more brilliant cut to mask those feathers. So you probably get a 3 carat or out of this, maybe a 4 carat stone. It used to be, used to go around Tucson and shop the mineral dealers for crystals that we could cut, because they were really a good source of fine material that was cuttable. You just had to always be careful not to tell them you were a cutter, because many of them wouldn't sell it to you because it's sacrilege to cut these beautiful natural crystals up. Not how we felt, but it's how they felt. So, you just tell them, oh, yeah, I'm going to put this on display in my... Yeah, and we go home and cut them up. And, and back then, the crystals were cheap. I mean, you could buy crystals that were rough much cheaper than what rough dealers were selling it for. But that's totally changed now. Now the mineral specimens are often worth more than what the cut stones are. So it's not something that's easy to do anymore. And our next stone is another Tanzanite. This one I cut a while back, not too long ago. But really interesting shape, outstanding color. Has a couple of inclusions in it, but it's eye clean stone. I graded it as a VS2, so the inclusions are small. You can see them in the video, but in up close and personal, they're not visible to the naked eye until you put a really good light on them, and maybe you'll see it. But the color on this stone, really remarkable color, beautiful cut, if I say so myself, and interesting shape. This stone exhibits red flash, has a nice mix of color. Red flash is something you don't often see in stones. You can kind of pick it up there, showing a little more violet, but occasionally you'll see if we can get a red flash. Yep, yeah, I saw it. You can catch the red flash occasionally. And that's usually a sign of a really top quality gem. Only the deepest, finest colors will show that red flash. Don't expect to get it typically, because it's in 1 out of 5,000 stones you get that red flash. And this stone weighs 1153. Appraised value of $12,680. Our online price is $74.90. 15% off is $6,366. So it's $552 a carat. And the red flash is dramatic in this stone. It's literally everywhere.
Out of how many stones would you say you could see red flash?
Oh, I probably have 10 stones, and I probably have 500 stones. So it's that kind of percentage. So we don't like to talk about it often, because people say, oh, I want red flash. Well, good luck. But occasionally you can get it. It doesn't mean that it's the finest colored stone. Because there are many, many fine stones. The 14 karat 80 that we showed earlier may not have red flash, but it's a remarkable color. So what determines whether you get red flash? I'm not exactly sure whether it's direction you cut it or just the nature of the material. But it just occasionally pops up. And again, you'll only see it in top-colored stones, but not every top-colored stones will exhibit red flash. So not something to base your buying of a Tanzanite on, because the overall color, occasionally you'll see a stone that just blow away a stone with red flash and doesn't exhibit red flash, but anything with a red flash is going to be a top colored stone. So, and our next stone is the baby stone of the 570 karat stone I cut. This is cut in the same pattern because it was cut for the same person. They bought the quarter pounder quartz, and wanted a smaller stone to actually make a pendant out of. The 570 carat was more for a display stone, and she wanted another stone that she could actually wear. Again, this is the same person for the Ametrine, and unfortunately she died before I could get it to her, and she had my same last name, so we had a connection, and she loved gems, and I do miss her.
She was a character.
Yeah, she was really a outstanding person. I mean, it's just a pleasure to talk to, and we both had the same love, so, I'm going to miss her. So anyway, this stone I called Hexamore. It's a hexagonal, and my name's Moriarty, and her name was Moriarty. So this was Hexamore. The cut worked out very well, just something I sat down and started cutting, and, because the shape of the quartz crystal is a hex, and, this just cut gave very good yield to the crystal, and just gave remarkable brilliance, because most people that look at this and they go, oh, it looks like a diamond, and it just does have diamond-like brilliance, even though quartz has such a low refractive index that it could never compare to a diamond, but this is as close in a quartz as you can get to a diamond. It has dispersion, which those flashes of different colors are the dispersion you're seeing in this stone. And that's one characteristic that makes diamond what it is it has pretty high dispersion. So this particular stone weighs 169.79 carats. Appraised value $1,480, and much of that is due to the amount of time it took to cut this. I had to have spent 20 hours cutting this, so it's actually a relatively, it's a good wage, but it's for most trades, it's not a high wage. I sometimes compare to the plumber, which my kids object to. They make more plumbing than I make cutting this gem, but it's a labor of love, and this particular stone, our online price is $1,099. $934 is the discounted price with the coupon code New Year. So it comes out to $500. Used to that $500, but it's $5.50 a carat. So really a beautiful stone. The cut is just, it's pretty remarkable how it came out. And one of these days I'll sit down and draw out the pattern, because I've had a lot of requests from cutters wanting to redo this cut. Question?
Show us the size of it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, Josh Lards, if you ever get it done, he would like to know that pattern.
I've got a picture of it somewhere. I haven't filled out all the angles and stuff, but it is one that works real well, and I should publicize it.
Pull back a little bit toward your face.
Good.
There you see that? There you go.
Ooh, it's cool. Oh my God. Oh, you'll love it this way, I tell you. It's actually reflecting the vault, and it's 1,000 reflections of the vault. Wow.
Never done that before.
No, I've never done that before. I like it this way better. Yeah, well, it's really amazing. We'll have to try and get a video of that. That's cool.
Oh, you want to show them the
Oh,
quartz comes
yeah.
from?
Oh. So this is a quartz crystal, and you can see pretty much, it's not a good hex, but it's a hex. And that's the direction I cut these, right down the C-axis. Yeah. So this is another mineral specimen available on Mineral Mike. A really nice quartz. Where was this, Arkansas? Or?
No, that's from Brazil.
This is a Brazil. So a couple years ago, I bought a huge, not quite this big, but a crystal not far from this size that I wanted to facet 1,000 carats down. I haven't taken the time to do it yet. I'm not sure I have the time to do it because it probably will cut a 1,500 carats down, doubling the size of the last one I cut. But, you know, it's even if I work quick, it'd take me an entire week at best to cut it. So we'll see if I ever get around to it. But really, really clear crystal. It's a flawless crystal, and I hope to cut it one day. And I probably would do this cut again, you know, just because it works so well.
Here, I'll let you ask.
While I'm showing mineral specimens,
Hold on 1 second.
here's a cool one. We had aqua earlier. This is Aquamarine. Where's this one from, Mike?
Pakistan.
This is from Pakistan. And it's not mica with it, but it's something similar.
It's, I think it's mica. It's,
Is it?
What do you call it?
Not hornblende or what?
Why can't I think of it right now?
We stumped the mineral man, Mineral Mike.
My brain's not working right now.
But it's amazing that these crystals are as good as they are for having traveled from Pakistan.
Muscovite, maybe?
Muscovite, you think? Because those are pretty fragile. The aquamarine's very, very tough, but what's with it, you know, their shapes are near perfect and just amazing. It came that far out of the ground and came all the way here and stayed in pretty much pristine condition. So that's great aquamarine.
Great question.
The quartz that Steve just had,
Uh-huh.
which one?
The big quartz or the
Yeah,
cut
which
quartz?
one was that? Was on that's on your website, right?
The cut one?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That's from Arkansas.
That has the 3 points, right? The
Yeah, that's from Arkansas. It's
Bigger
from the
one.
Ron Coleman mine. You know, me and Mike went down there mining. Did I get that on that trip?
No, that was
I got that before.
the one you cut says Ron Coleman on the website, and then this one the big one you showed was from Brazil.
Yes.
Okay.
The natural crystal.
Yes, somebody was asking. I want to make sure I give them both just in case.
Okay. Anything else I should show crystal-wise? We'll get to the others with one other aqua while we did aquas. This is more typical of what we see in aqua, these long, thin crystals. Where's this?
From Tanzania.
This is Tanzania. Okay.
That one's got, if you look at the termination, it's kind of weird. It's almost like tapered off.
Uh-huh. So from Tanzania, I don't see much aqua from Tanzania. I don't know if I've ever bought aqua in Tanzania or not. But they have such a variety of stones, Tanzania. Really a remarkable country, the production. You know, it's sad that when I go there, I'm not going to be able to go out and go to the mines and buy at the mines because that was half the fun of it. But just have to go to the government centers and do our buying there and go out and do some trips and just look around. Okay. Up next, is another fancy Tanzanite. This is What's that?
You got a viewer question.
Oh.
Yes. Somebody is wanting to know if you were just getting started as a cutter, what machine would you recommend for them? Or a
It's
new
this
cutter.
one right here. You know, this is Ultratech's. You know, they have Ultratech. This is a V5. They have a lesser expensive one that's a VL. but the lesser expensive is $3,495. But just really well built machine, and I have at least 4 different types of machines. But all my other machines are no longer manufactured, so they're starting to fall by the wayside because you can't get parts. This is the best machine on the market that is still manufactured. Parts are available. The company's likely to be in business as long as you're going to cut, because they are not totally reliant on faceting machines as their only business. So just a really well-built machine. The blue topaz cutting demonstration that we've done was done with this machine. So it's just an accurate machine that when you're just getting started, it's the type of machine that takes out all the worries about whether the machine can do the job. It's up to you because the machine's capable. You just have to be capable of doing the job. Whereas a lot of machines that you might buy used or mainly used is what's out there. When you buy a used machine, you have to wonder whether the machine works right. And here's a machine. You buy it new, you pay a little extra money to get it new, and it works out of the box, and then it's just up to you to learn how to do it. And we've provided quite a few videos to help you learn how to do it and not have to learn like I did, which is pretty much learning on your own. I had one person show me through one stone, and then it was a couple of years of trying to learn. But if you get the right machine, get the right instruction, which would be our videos on YouTube, within a few months' time, you'll be cutting quality stones.
Just like this one.
Just like this one. Yeah.
And to go off of that, where would somebody find good rough to cut?
On our videos, we've suggested people. Some of the people that I could recommend would be New Era Gems, John Garso, Matthew Milstead. Would be several people that you can get good rough from. And right now there's a lot of rough. It's a good time to learn to cut because the quantity of rough available now is better than it's been most of my time in business. Not sure exactly why that is, but it's either there's more available or I know more people. I don't know what it is, but you can find things worthwhile to cut and actually be able to make money on it. It makes the investment of buying a good machine worthwhile, because a good machine will make you money. If you spend the time learning how to use it, you're going to become a good cutter in a relatively short time. So call Ultratech, tell them I sent you, and we'll help you get started. Is this our next one? I didn't get to it? Okay. So this is a fancy Tanzanite that is really a rare color. I've had a couple of them this year we've had on the shows. This is kind of a peachy color, much like the Imperial zircons. And it's a color you don't see often, and it's a desirable color, So this is it's a really clean stone for this material. The fancies typically will have some inclusions in it. They're so rare that people tend to leave inclusions in them because they're marketable even included. But this is a nice clean stone. This fancy Tanzanite weighs 2 carat 12. Praise value of $2,230. Our online price is $1,490. And that comes out to $1,266 with the coupon code New Year. $597 a carat. But compared to the rarity of this stone, compared to other Tanzanites, I mean, this is thousands and thousands of times rarer than your typical blue violet Tanzanite. Just a pretty color, pretty stone. And not much gets rarer than this. And the cutting is really, really a high quality cut on this stone. Now, all these fancies, of course, come from the regular Tanzanite mines. You know, it's the only place they come from, and in Tanzania. And next stone is another peridot from the latest batch of rough I bought. This is a Barian style emerald cut, which is one of my favorite cuts. You know, you look at the size of the table, you know, table sizes on colored gems, you know, we've all started cutting much, much smaller table sizes. Table is the center facet of the stone. Typically, they're 50% of the width of the stone. These days, we're more hitting into the below 50 for sure, and cutting more 40, 30, 20, very small 10% tables. This is probably 15% table. You know, just because we find that it does better for the brilliance of the stone. The overall look of the stone is better with a smaller table. So all of us cutters have started cutting much smaller tables. This peridot that comes from Pakistan, definitely kind of a minty green color, which is generally considered the more desirable of the peridot colors as opposed to more yellow-green. This one weighs 5 carat 34, appraised value of $2,510. $990 is our price online, $841 with the coupon code New Year. Peridot's definitely become one of my favorites. You know, it just a stone that people used to dislike when all the material mostly came out of Arizona and was definitely much more yellow. But this material out of Pakistan made it a much more desirable stone. You know, again, this lens is making this yellower than it is, much more accurate in the picture. So peridot has gone from readily available out of Pakistan, say 15 years ago. It actually came out probably in the middle 90s. And was available up to 2005, you know, then started dropping off, and now it's got much more difficult to get. Again, this is how it comes out of the mine. Our next stone is another Tanzanite I cut recently, kind of a different cut, shield shape. Again, just a very, very lovely color. This is another all step cut. And I think this does have one ding on the culet that I will fix. I forgot about it. You know, sometimes you pull these off the dop too aggressively and it just pulls a little chip out of the culet, which is the case with this. And
Someone buys it, you're gonna repair that?
yeah, it's take me a half hour to get it taken care of, and it'll lose 2 points. You know, I just forgot it was there, and I don't know if it even shows in the video or not, but minor repair. So, but again, a beautiful stone. Nice brilliance. And weighs 6 carat 13. 69.90 is the appraise value. 38.30 is the online price. 32.55 with the 10% off. So about $530 a carat. Just really good brilliance.
So you think you do that ring pendant?
Well, it could make a cool ring. And of course, a pendant works. So this is all step cut again. I'm kind of been into step cuts lately, which I always have, but much more as of late. It's really nice highlights. A question, Carrie?
Yes. I think you might have discussed this. I'm not sure if it's the same, but somebody was asking about the 30% to 70%. Like, what does that indicate? The blue violet.
So if it's blue violet, exceptional. So exceptional is the depth of color. Blue violet means it is some blue, more violet. So the second term is the primary color. And then when I put blue violet 30/70, it means the blue is 30% and the violet is 70%. So when you look in incandescent light, and then look at daylight, you kind of get an idea of what the percentage of both colors is. It's my looking at it and estimating how much of each color is in it. So the 30%, 70% follows with whatever the color was. So if it's blue violet 30/70, it's 30% blue, 70% violet. But if it's violet blue, meaning there's more blue in it, the 30% would go with the violet. The first term goes with the first number. And the second term, which would be blue, would be the 70%. So it's going to be 70% blue, 30% violet. So the numbers correspond with the order of the color. So blue violet vivid or blue violet exceptional, then 30/70, the numbers go with the order of the colors listed in the like blue violet or violet blue. So first color, first number go together. So, okay? All right. Then our next stone is the second half of the large blue topaz we did. It's as you look here, you'll see this is the piece of rough. Then we cut it in half. We cut it in half. And there's the big one on the right, and this is the little one we're dealing with right now, which kind of surprised me, the size it came out. I expected maybe a 50 carat out of it, and I got a 95 carat, so a little bonus of 40 carats there. This is, again, it's a Berrien style emerald cut. Just really has outstanding brilliance. And the color definitely came out better than I expected. As I've said before, the color of natural topaz is just typically pale, nearly colorless. And these came out much better than what I'd hoped for. And again, this picture will show it bluer than it is. Just really has really nice brilliance. Again, a few inclusions, but this blow up of the picture shows it much more than you can see it. It's difficult to see anything in the stone with the naked eye. There are a couple of little teeny things that you can see, but minor for a stone this size. So cool stone, weighs 92.95 carat, natural color, blue topaz from Brazil. The appraised, well, there is no appraised price. Like I said before, I haven't really owned any before and have nothing to compare it to, and very difficult to find any naturals online or any place to make a price comparison to. But this, for a natural topaz, is the deepest color, finest stones that I've personally seen. So the online price is $27.80. 15 off is $23.63. Comes out to about $26 a carat. Get that on. Try it on my hand there. Okay. So, yeah, let's see how this one is. Not quite as interesting, but still cool. A new way to look at gems.
Yeah,
You have to name that.
Oh, you seen? Put it on your forehead like that one guy. You see
yeah,
that?
that rapper got a crystal on his head.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta be issues with that.
I don't know how you said it, but.
You seen that, right?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, Carrie, you tell them about it.
I don't even know.
No?
Somebody has.
Somebody put a.
I don't know who it
pink
is.
diamond, I think, in their forehead. They set it
Really?
in their forehead.
Ooh,
Little
that's
Uzi or something, or Uzi something.
$24 million pink diamond embedded into his forehead.
wow.
Who was it?
Lil Uzi Vert.
That's weird. I've seen had a jeweler that had a 1 carat diamond set in his front tooth. Of course, he always smiled real big, so everybody could see it. But yeah. He was in down by Cincinnati. Yeah, I don't remember his name, but
Better hope he never chips that tooth.
Tough.
Bite into an apple, just falls out. Pretty upsetting.
And up next is the finest spessartite I've ever seen. Pretty bold statement, but what's so special about this? This material comes from Tanzania. It's called Fanta Orange. But typically this material has a lot of inclusions in it. You know, they're usually so small that it's hard to see them, but it typically affects the brilliance and affects my ability to photograph them. If you look at, we've got several stones on the site, and you'll see some of those that have those small crystalline inclusions. And when you look at it on your hand, you can't see them, but in a photograph, everything shows up, as it often does in our photography, because we're so close up, so brightly lit that you can see everything. You can see a few crystals in this, but this is as clean as this material gets. You know, this material from Tanzania is typically just full of crystalline inclusions, and this is remarkably clean. And the depth of color of this stone is deeper than anything I've seen out of Tanzania. You know, it's just a really great color, great cut. The brilliance on it is remarkable. And again, the clarity is better than almost everything that comes out of Tanzania.
Would you consider this Fanta or no?
Yeah, it's a little beyond what the typical Fanta is, a little darker, but still has that same basic color, because I've got a 2-carat 87 that's Fanta orange, and you put them side by side, there's only a slight color difference, but it is a deeper color than anything I've ever seen out of Tanzania. So therefore, I spent more money on it than any stone I've seen out of Tanzania. But it's a special piece. 3-carat 27, appraised value of $37.40. $19.90 is our price online, and with 15 off is $1,691. You know, again, this is a big stone. They don't come bigger than this. You know, I've got somebody waiting for a 5-carat, and I think they're going to be waiting a long time, because they just don't come large in this material, particularly clean and well cut. You know, the rough from this material does come big, or it used to, but it doesn't come big and clean. Question, Carrie?
Yes. I think they're asking in regards to this garnet, but was the original crystal color close to that stone that you have?
Yeah, I mean, I have a crystal here, but it's so included that it affects the color of the stone. But you can kind of see, you know, and this is, they come big like this. You know, last time or 2 trips ago to Tanzania, my friend that has a Tanzanite mine, he had his desk was just covered with big crystals like this. And there were really remarkable crystals. If Michael had been in the crystal business at that time, he'd have loved them, because the shapes were so good, the colors were so good, but it wasn't facet grade. It was all included. There was no facet material, so I had no interest. But as I look back, I probably should have had interest in it, because they were just beautiful crystals, and having big garnet crystals with this kind of color, particularly as well shaped as they were. And, you know, it was just back when they found the material, or shortly after. This was, it's from Loliondo. I'm not sure I pronounced that right, but that's the area of Tanzania that these come from. And the supply of this material has dropped off dramatically, but we still see a good amount of cut stones. But like I say, most of it's included, and I have rough to cut, but they're going to cut carat sizes and not totally clean. So this 3-carat, you know, like Savorite garnet, you know, they don't come big, and they get rare as you get over 3-carat, you know, and 4 and 5-carat stones are just exceedingly rare.
Do you know anybody that cuts freehand still? Are there people out there? Somebody was asking about that a little bit ago. I
Well,
got it
not
answered.
too many people cut freehand. I have cut opals freehand, and it's something you can do, but you just don't get the quality, and you never get quality like this. Freehand for most of the world is JPEG, which is still a machine, but it's a plate shaped like this that's got holes in it that are they get to know about what angle it is. They're all cut at different angles, and you jam your dopstick into it, called the peg. So you jam it into this curved metal plate, and it gives you an approximate angle, and then you just rotate the stone to get the different facets. So that's as close to freehand as typically the world gets. And JPEG's still used, but a fine
Oh, sorry. Go
a
ahead.
fine quality machine like this will always produce a much better stone. But JPEG is quick. You can cut a stone much quicker. They probably cut a stone in an hour on JPEG.
And
Oh, we had a sale. Cool.
it was the garnet.
It was the garnet.
Oh, somebody
Quick
bought
reaction.
the garnet.
Yeah.
Well,
pretty
you're going to
cool.
make a friend of mine very unhappy because he kind of wanted this stone. So, he had some issues, and if you're out there, Henry, I hope everything's going well for you. But you missed this stone. Sorry.
But thank you. Yes.
Yeah, but
Thank
thank
you,
you, whoever
yeah.
bought it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool stone.
One disappointment, somebody else is happy. I'll find you another one, Henry. With luck.
But getting back to the Justin Prim, what's he using? He has the hand piece.
You mean the free?
Yeah.
I don't know what his machine is, but there's another machine that doesn't have a mast. It has a handpiece that has basically the same type of quill, and it gives you angles and degrees, but it's actually you can pick up the whole machine and look at the stone, and then it sets back down on a plate and does cutting much like this machine does. I'm not sure what you call that type of machine, but Imahashi has one, and it's used by a lot of cutters, but I prefer the mass style facet machine. That's what I learned on, and that's what we get used to. So again, the Ultratech here is the best that's available for you out there that are interested in buying a machine and becoming a cutter. And again, check out our videos, and we're producing in there to help you learn how to cut. And if I'd have had somebody that gave me instruction like that, I'd have become a good cutter much quicker.
Kind of going back to that garnet real quick, somebody was wondering if you can get the same sort of color with a golden citrine or a golden orange citrine.
They look pretty similar. The difference is going to be the amount of brilliance. I've cut a lot of the really orange citrine that came out of Uruguay. I don't see as much of it these days. It's gotten much harder to get, but there's still material that is orange like this, and that was a really rare find. I mean, 40 years ago, there was material that was orange, and then it was 25 years before the next supply came out of Uruguay. So it is a color that's tough to get. I hope there's more of it. It's a good color to cut, and I've often said it looks remarkably like this color, but garnet will always blow a quartz away for brilliance. So that's the only difference. The color is very similar, but the brilliance will be significantly less. But still, you can make quartz have really good brilliance, like that colorless quartz I showed you has not a diamond-like brilliance, but many people think it looks brilliant like that. So you can get some good brilliance out of it, but its refractive index that produces brilliance, and quartz is low and garnet is high. So like diamond, very high, even much higher than garnet. So that's what determines how much brilliance you're going to get is refractive index. So, cool.
Okay.
Any other questions?
That's it. Yeah.
Yep.
Anybody else? Nobody had any other questions?
It says there's a viewer question. Are you just making that up?
Yeah, see if there's anybody have any other questions?
Yes. So someone just posted in regards to the sphalerite and the citrine. Is there a reason that most of the golden orange citrines are cut in such a large carat size? He's been looking for something around like a 10 millimeter citrine.
Well, for me, it's the value of the stone. Say I cut a 10 millimeter Portuguese cut that takes me 4 hours. A piece of quartz, maybe you can get $50-$60 a carat. So it's a 4 carat stone for $240. Is that worth cutting 4 hours and cost of materials? No. So I have to cut a 10 carat in lesser expensive stones to really be worthwhile cutting is my issue. Overseas they can cut them, but unfortunately, their cutting quality is not typically there. They're getting better and it's coming along real well. Overseas cutters are getting better. They're getting more money for their cutting, but still not compared to what I have to charge for cutting here. So you probably can find it, but you're not going to find it from me to cut that kind of size and actually think I'm making money. Cut a 4 carat Tanzanite or cut a 4 carat citrine is always the question.
Cool.
I need money. It all comes down to time and money.
Ask if anybody else got any other questions.
Yeah, if you guys got any more questions, go ahead and put them in the chat and we'll try and get them answered for you. Does it show up after if they ask, can we go back and, if they ask later or no?
I don't think it'll show up in chat,
But in the comment.
under the comments.
Okay. Yeah, and if you guys think of something later, you can put them in the comments and then they can definitely answer them for you. Someone was asking what's the most expensive stone you've cut and sold or sold?
Most expensive stone, probably a Tanzanite, because I've cut a few 100 carat Tanzanites, but that was back at a time when they weren't going for quite as much. But Tanzanite's probably the most expensive stones that I've cut.
What the Mahenge garnet, that was one. I don't know what that one's called.
Yeah, it's still, I've cut some 40 carat Tanzanites that are, I think I cut a 42 carat, may have gone for 27,000. I'm not sure if I've cut anything more expensive than that. So it's mostly been Tanzanites. I've got a piece of rough that's 240 carat in a Tanzanite that may cut 100 carats total in 2 stones. So that'll be a fairly high value stone. So,
Beautiful crystal.
yeah, it's a great crystal. Michael wants it.
Birthday's coming up.
Yeah. It was exported as a natural crystal, which has really good crystal form, and unfortunately for crystal collectors, it's got a couple of really nice cut stones in it.
Somebody wants to know if black spinels are translucent.
I don't know how much light you take to get through a black spinel. I'm not sure if you even can. I don't think they're translucent. Never really tried it to see if you get any light through it. But my impression of the spinels I've seen, no translucency.
Got some gray spinels that have brilliance to them.
Yeah,
Not black.
yeah, gray spinel. Grays are kind of popular right now, and those are transparent. So, Yeah. And I don't doubt there's some black spinel that is translucent, but most of it's opaque.
Everyone's also saying thank you for all of your videos that you post, the the educational ones.
You're welcome. It's
Yes.
much Michael that's making me do them. Because they take a lot of time.
Yes,
These last videos, just so much time, and there's a lot to do, and, but we'll keep doing them, and glad you watch them, and, it's, I want to make sure I have a legacy of what I've done, and the internet is a great place to do it. It'll be there forever, long after I'm gone, and, it's a kind of a cool thing. So we'll keep making them, and hopefully you'll keep watching.
Someone's wondering what your favorite stones, like you have an ultimate favorite stone, and then I guess maybe kind of off of that, like what would be, I'm sorry, there's lots of questions coming in. Like what would be a good stone to learn to cut, like if you were new to cutting, like what types of stones would be good?
Well, garnet. Garnet's my favorite, and garnet's a good one to learn because they're easier to handle the rough. They're singly refractive, meaning you can cut from any direction and pretty much going to get the same color. Whereas other stones like tourmaline, you can cut the wrong direction and get an ugly stone, or cut the right way and get a pretty stone. So for a beginner, you don't have to think too much about a garnet. You just got to make sure they're not overly dark, and you judge that by putting it on a white piece of paper. If it still looks colorful, it's probably going to cut an okay stone. And there's lots of rhodolite available out there now to cut. Just be careful of silk that's in them. You put a strong light to it, and if you look at enough stones, you can kind of get an idea of what's transparent and what's silky. Silky will kind of kill the brilliance of a stone. But garnet is what I recommend as being a beginner stone. They're not too expensive. You can make some money off what you cut because, they're always worth 40, 60, 80, 100 more and more per carat. A good finished stone. And it's available, and it's easy to polish. No difficulties in polishing garnet. So it's typically what I recommend. Barrels are good too, like aquas, but much harder to judge the rough and determine what to cut out of it. But barrels are nice and easy to polish, which would be emerald, aqua, heliodor, morganites. There's quite a bit of morganite rough out there these days. So it would be a decent choice, but a little tougher to judge the material than it is garnet.
Somebody was asking about a Tanzanite that they have a 5-carat Tanzanite with an extreme red flash in it, and they took it to another store, and they said that it was cut directly in the car axis. Do you know what that means?
On the C-axis, probably. Which the C-axis is where you see red on some really remarkable crystals that when you look down the C-axis, it's just red. You don't see those too often anymore, but I can remember back in the, in the middle 90s, seeing crystals that just, you put a light on it and it is just as red could be. So that's direct down the C-axis, which the C-axis would be this. That's a C-axis. This is the A, and the B-axis, that's a C.
And then for first-time cutters, which I think I know this answer, but you don't need an apprenticeship to become a lapidary, right? Like you could obviously learn from your videos or...
Well, that's the purpose of our videos. I've gone into such detail that you should be able to learn by just following the videos. It's going to answer all those questions that I had that I didn't have anybody to answer for me. and you just have to learn on your own then. But having the videos, it's going to help you significantly get through the issues of cutting. There's still going to be issues, which I still have issues. This blue topaz here, I struggled with yesterday, just had so many problems, and I put it down and said, it's not going to be ready for the show. And I got up early this morning and tackled it, and a new day, and it worked out, and I got through the problems, and we all have problems with cutting, but it sure helps to have videos like we've produced, and others are producing videos, but I think we've gone into the detail that you need to learn, and I believe that you can learn from our videos.
Anything else, Carrie?
Yes, hold on.
She's chatting it up.
I'm trying to make sure I get the questions. Have you ever cut a carbonado black diamond?
I have
And then
not.
how would you rate cutting it if you did?
Well, you can't cut diamond on. I'm not even sure exactly what they're referring to. Is that a diamond with that's black because of all the carbon that's in it? Not 100% positive what the term is, but if that's what it is, you can't cut diamond on these machines. They're not built to cut diamond, because diamond is the same hardness as what you're cutting with, and there's a lot of different things that you have to do in different equipment that runs much faster and is much more durable than this machinery. So if it is truly diamond we're talking about, I can't cut diamond, and although I've done some repairs on diamond, it's a difficult thing to do on this machinery.
With the unheated diesel tanzanites, do you ever get rid of the small pieces of that off of there? Like smaller ones, like 1 carat?
I like to have more small naturals, because they are saleable. But when you cut a stone, there's usually nothing left but powder, so sometimes there's cut-offs. But even a 1 carat natural is worth cutting. If you could cut a 1 carat stone, you still got a stone worth $400, and even for me, that's worthwhile cutting. But hopefully, I'll get more small rough, because the exports of rough are legal to 2 grams. Typically, larger crystals, I believe it's still okay to export. It changes constantly. The what you can export has changed often. And I hope to get more naturals, more small naturals. Just tough to get. People's mentality is to cut it and heat it, or heat it, then cut it. But having 1 2-carat naturals would be nice, but typically those small stones aren't that attractive as naturals. They don't have a depth of color that gives the beauty that we like to see in a natural color.
There was one that I wanted to make sure. How difficult would you say peridot is to cut on like a scale of 1 to
Well, the
10?
rough is difficult to judge, is the biggest problem, but it's relatively easy to cut and polish. Not real hard, not difficult to polish typically. It's just the rough, and clean rough is almost non-existent. When it was coming out in quantity, you could buy clean rough, but these days there's always something in it. I haven't seen a totally flawless piece of rough in years. So you're always dealing with some inclusions and doing the best you can, either to hide them or cut them out of the crystal and lose the weight, sacrifice the weight to get a clean stone. But not difficult to cut and polish.
And then, is there a big difference to cutting natural or lab-grown stones?
Well, lab-grown's always clean. That's the only reason I can see to cut a lab-grown stone. You know, you buy them flawless. They're almost always flawless, so you don't have to deal with inclusions, which is the hardest part of faceting is determining what to cut, working around inclusions, and it's always what disappoints you when inclusions show up in your cut, and you know it cuts the value in half. So it's the only reason I can understand why people would cut lab grown. I'm always going, why would you do that? Why do you spend that kind of time cutting something lab grown? But I guess I somewhat understand you still get the creative, the artistic part of it. You know, my issue is it has little value when it's done. I'd rather cut something that has value and I have potential to make money when it's done.
Did you have to cut for years to get stock for your shop?
Well, it took me years to get good at cutting, and it took me a couple years, but I didn't have the help like we have the video. So it took me much longer to learn to cut before I was out there trying to produce stones that I could sell. But kind of lost what the question was.
About, like, has it taken a long time? Like,
it takes a long time to cut for stock, but, you know, because how many stones can I cut? If I were just doing cutting, I could cut 2 stones in a day, maybe 3 if I spent a long day. But unfortunately, I have to run a business and buy rough, buy cut stones. And so I only get a chance to cut, 2-3 stones a week, so hopefully I can get away from some of the everyday work here and cut a few more. This week I probably cut 5 or 6 stones, but that's a good week for me. So it's hard to cut enough for inventory. That's why I do buy a lot of cut stones, and you can't buy all the rough you need to cut the variety of stones that I need to run my business. So you have to buy cut stones, just because there's not rough available for all stones.
Were there any stones where you wanted to highlight the flaws or the inclusions because they were particularly pretty or unusual?
No such thing. Inclusions are ugly. Inclusions lose you money. Inclusions are negative all the way around. Some things, there's no way to get around inclusions, like the sphalerite. You don't cut a flawless sphalerite. Material from Madagascar, which is more deeper reddish orange, not quite as desirable color, although they were pretty. Those I found flawless. Some of the material from Nigeria years ago was cutting flawless. But most of the material available these days, you're not going to cut a flawless stone. And your desire is to cut as clean as possible. Flawless, not necessary. Generally this business is eye clean is ideal. Anything beyond is just a bonus, but the value beyond eye clean does not generally increase dramatically. But inclusions are just something that I can't think of an inclusion that I wanted to highlight or enjoyed. There are some, star sapphires would be one. Without inclusions, they wouldn't have stars. And that's why a lot of them get heated and they dissolve the rutile that makes the star and make it into a transparent stone, because again, much higher value as a transparent stone and then as an included stone. Trapezie emeralds are valued because of the pattern they produce from the inclusions within. But other than that, there's almost nothing that I would desire an inclusion in.
I don't know how many more I want to do.
We'll take
a couple.
A couple more.
Okay. Somebody was asking, have you ever seen a Tanzanite or zoisite with asterism, or I don't know how to say this. Chadoyans?
Chatoyancy.
Yes. No idea.
I think they exist. I'd never seen one. Yeah. I think Chatoyancy does stars. I don't believe they've ever produced the star, but I can't say I've ever seen one. I think I've heard of it, but I'm not even positive on that it actually exists. Not sure. Well, although there are needles in Tanzanite that I suppose if you had enough of them, you could produce Chatoyancy.
Somebody was asking about maybe more of she's curious about the business side. Like, who would you say are your biggest customers, individuals or jewelry makers?
Well, it used to be jewelry makers because I started in the wholesale business. I spent 20 years wholesaling and traveling around the U.S. selling colored stones. But that's changed. I got tired of all the traveling overseas and then come home and traveling, selling to jewelers. And so I set up a retail store, and, once you're not out there selling, your wholesale business drops off almost dead. I mean, I still have maybe 5% wholesale business, but, my business is the internet, and our retail store kind of split about 50-50. So did that answer the question? I kind of lost track of the question, but yeah.
I think that's
My customer is you.
Trying to make sure I answered. Yeah, I think I
Pretty
got
much
them
it.
all. I hope so, yeah.
All right, folks, remember, shop online at MoreGems.com, as well as subscribe to us on YouTube's at More Gems. That's going to do it for us today. I want to thank you all for watching. Sign up for alerts when we go live. Also check out all the video links and info at the bottom of this stream. Until next time, I'm Steve Moriarty. Keep on gemming.